Hey everybody, I'm Christo, and I just had an idea that I wanted to share immediately because I think it's a cool idea. So this is Black Ice, right? Great mod for HOI4, and what it's done is it's essentially massively increased the number of bits of equipment that there are in the game, right? So you don't just build infantry equipment, you build infantry equipment and assault SMGs and machine guns and mortars and garrison maintenance and logistical engineer and recon and radio and all that stuff, right? And all that goes into an infantry division. And that's kind of cool. Why is it cool? Because it allows you to, as a richer nation, and a more technologically advanced nation, you can have superior infantry equipment. Rather than just going like one extra step down the chain, you can have more expensive, kind of deeper infantry equipment. You can have not just infantry equipment, but also machine guns, but also mortars, etc., etc. And you can make interesting tactical decisions, like should this division have infantry equipment and machine guns, or infantry equipment and mortars? And they'd cost about the same, but they'd each be better in different scenarios. So that's a good added degree of depth that Black Ice achieves over vanilla HOI. However, it has a downside. The downside is that your production menu starts looking like this, and if you want to play efficiently, you need to build a big-ass spreadsheet. Haters will say the spreadsheet is not necessary, and I wasted like 9 hours of my life building it, but they're wrong. And it's beautiful, apart from anything else. But it's a downside, right? You have to manage this stupidly large production chain. And if you're the commander-in-chief or whatever of the United Kingdom in World War II, you're not worrying about how many factories are on machine guns versus assault SMG equipment. That's the kind of thing that you want to delegate. So I have a solution. Right now, you can make variants of infantry equipment, but it's very basic. It's just higher quality, more reliable, more cost, or add in some rifle grenades and things like that. What I want to see, and hear me out here because this sounds a little nuts, what I want to see is a ship design menu type thing for infantry equipment. So imagine this is infantry equipment, infantry designer, right? In here, these modules could be radio equipment, machine gun, mortar, extra medical supplies, grenades, whatever, right? But all that design complexity happens at this level. You design one infantry equipment kind of set, basically, and then all you have to produce is that set. And the cost of that set and the modifiers of that set and what you're allowed to put into that set, of course, all depend on technology and things like that. And if you put in mortars, so for example, let's say this is basic infantry equipment, and you added in radio, that would add a cost of 0.78 industrial capacity per unit of this set times however many radio equipments you put into the set. So the cost stays exactly the same. The research burden stays exactly the same. All you're changing is that instead of doing all of your complex trying to work out, okay, do I need one more factory on radio equipment or one more factory on machine guns and all that, the game just does it for you. The game is because you're building this, you're building your unification of all of the different bits of infantry equipment. And I think that'd be really cool. You can have an immediate look on what adding different things into your divisions is going to do. And of course you can have multiple different types of infantry gear, right? And then when you're designing a infantry division on here, right, you're saying in an equipment menu, for example, or in maybe by what type of infantry brigade you put in here, battalion, you're saying, I want it to have this type or this type or this type of infantry, give it the assault template, give it the the basic infantry equipment template that you've designed. And that means that the complexity and the nuance happens here, right? At the strategic decision-making level, because that's where HOI shines. When you're making tactical and strategical decisions, working out how many factories you should have on radio equipment is neither a tactical nor a strategical decision. It is a logistical, boring, mathematical decision. That's the decision that the game should be making for you. So put it here, and hear me out, because you can take it one step further. You can have one. I'm proposing essentially a series of new designers. One is infantry equipment designer. One would also be artillery designer. I know some people really care about the BL 8-inch howitzer being in the game because that's the real howitzer that was used or something. I don't care at all. And Black Ice already completely fails to historically represent the artillery pieces that are used in the war because there's a strict linear progression, right, of one to the other in different categories. which of course is not how that happens. To say it completely fails is needlessly harsh, but I'm trying to make a point here. So you can instead have a artillery designer. So you've got an infantry designer and then an artillery designer. And here you choose things like how big is the payload? Is it armor piercing? What kind of range are you going for? Things like that. And those things then affect the stats. So I would design my own heavy, medium, light artillery and everything in between. And I design my own anti-air gun and anti-tank gun and mixed purpose gun and all that kind of stuff. So there's more tactical decision making going on. And you don't have to have 9 different things being produced and constantly switch and know that the 8-inch howitzers are heavy artillery, whereas the 22mm Oerlikon or whatever is anti-air, all that kind of stuff. You design it yourself and you have your own variants, and it means that you can create things that never historically existed, interesting, useful things that might be able to help you do the game. And then they have another category, transport template. Right? So do you want to have, what ratio of horse transports to Bedfords do you want to have in your artillery dragging detachment or whatever? And you can design these things as well. So rather than just knowing, again, some people will, I was going to say something too rude. Some people will really like that the Scramwell Pioneer is in the game because they know that the Scramwell Pioneer was the historical thing, right? I don't care. If you do care, fine. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm just telling you that I don't care. So instead, you'd have the ability to design, like, okay, how are we going to balance the reliability versus the cost of our general transport? Do I want to specialize into having multiple different types of transport, or do I want to just have one that's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be one size fits all? It's going to ease my production logistical burden. That will be especially useful for poorer nations where they won't have to decide between heavy or light artillery. They can just have something that's designed to carry medium artillery pulling both. And obviously it's going to be worse at pulling heavy artillery, but you can model that in debuffs in the stats and things like that. And then, you already have something that serves this function for tanks, obviously, and you have something that serves this for planes, at least in the next update, and you have something for ships. So you're essentially only designing there's probably more that I'm missing, but you're only designing like 5. Sorry, so you've got infantry, you've got tanks, you've got planes, you've got ships, you've got artillery pieces. I'm just trying to get this in frame. You've got transports vehicles. I think they deserve to be their own category. I think that's about it. Because stuff like special forces equipment, all of that all comes under infantry. You design a special infantry equipment that's designed for being used in the mountains. And the cool thing about it is that you can get the nuances. So you could design a special forces division, which had the equipment to fight both in mountains and amphibiously, for example. Obviously, that's going to be much more expensive than designing one of each, which is all that you have the option to do at the moment, really. But you can do, you can simplify your production chain. You can make it more viable for a country that has fewer military factories. Anyway, I mean, maybe it's a terrible idea. Tell me in the comments if you think so. But I think that would be a really, really cool way to reduce the massive, not very fun logistical burden that that Black Ice currently presents, and also to allow increased accessibility of all of the really interesting tactical decisions that can be made around, do I want mortars, do I want machine guns, do I want grenades? Those are interesting tactical decisions that right now a lot of people are going to be turned off from making because you have to do this boring maths working out how many factories do I need to put on each thing. And yes, you can just play suboptimally, and maybe you'll have great fun playing suboptimally. I have nothing against that. You do you, but I would really like to see that. Tell me in the comments if you think it's a terrible idea and how you could improve it. I'm almost certain it's not currently possible to mod this into the game. I think building new designers, and entirely new designers, is something that is in the domain of Paradox only. But hey, I don't know, and I don't mind. I'm basically just showing it because I think it's a cool idea. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.